Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be taking a closer look at Bob Grant's The Woman Men Adore. You shared this book with us, and it sounds like you're really curious about its advice for women who are, seeking lasting love. Now the book claims to unlock a bonding code by helping women understand men's emotional needs. And honestly, who couldn't use a little more insight into that?
It's definitely a topic that I think captures a lot of interest. Relationships are complex, and any resource that kind of offers guidance is bound to attract attention. What's interesting about this book is how it focuses on tapping into specific emotional triggers to create a deeper connection with men.
Right, like this whole campfire effect he talks about, this idea of captivating a man
Ah,
by creating this warm, irresistible aura. Honestly, it sounds a bit like magic to me, but I'm intrigued.
the campfire effect is a clever metaphor. It highlights the importance of going beyond superficial attraction and creating an emotional atmosphere that draws people in. Think about it. A campfire provides warmth, light, a sense of gathering. It's a natural focal point that invites people to connect and share stories.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about physical appearance, but about creating a certain emotional depth that men find irresistible. Now, the book also dives into some pretty specific techniques, and I have to admit, some of them seem a bit counterintuitive to me, like this idea of the giving pit. Grant argues that women often overgive in relationships, which can lead to men taking them for granted. He uses Anna, a 41-year-old divorcee, as an example. Even though her husband bragged about how giving she was, he ended up leaving her, saying he wasn't in love with her anymore.
The giving pit concept is interesting because it challenges traditional relationship advice that often emphasizes selflessness, putting your partner's needs first. Grant suggests that by giving too much, women may inadvertently create an imbalance in the relationship. If one person is constantly giving, while the other is primarily receiving, it can lead to resentment and a sense of unappreciation.
So it's not that giving is bad, but that it needs to be balanced.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where both partners feel like they're contributing and receiving in a way that feels equitable. Grant argues that by maintaining a sense of reciprocity, you can keep the relationship dynamic healthy, prevent one person from feeling drained or taken for granted.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about maintaining that spark, making sure both partners feel valued and appreciated.
Precisely. And that's something this book emphasizes throughout, creating a dynamic where both partners feel fulfilled and excited to be in the relationship.
Now, along with this giving pit idea, he also has this whole section about dangerous signals women send off that make them seem desperate. Things we're apparently doing without even realizing it. I have to admit, that part made me a little nervous.
It's understandable to feel that way. No one wants to inadvertently sabotage their chances of finding love. However, I think Grant's intention is to help women become more aware of subtle behaviors that might be sending the wrong message. It's about fine-tuning our communication, making sure we're presenting ourselves in a way that aligns with our intentions.
So, it's not about changing who we are, but about being more mindful of how we're coming across.
Exactly. It's about self-awareness
Yeah.
and understanding how our actions and words are perceived by others.
That's a really helpful way to look at it. Yeah, okay, so we've talked about the giving pit and these dangerous signals.
Mm.
Now let's get back to this campfire effect, because honestly, it's the part that really caught my eye. He talks about Cleopatra and Susan Levin, Robert Downey Jr.'s wife, as examples of women who embody this effect.
Cleopatra, despite not fitting conventional beauty standards, was renowned for her charisma and ability to captivate powerful men. Susan Levin is credited with helping Robert Downey Jr. overcome personal challenges, achieve stability in his life. Both women, in different ways, demonstrate the power of creating an emotional atmosphere that draws people in.
Right, so it's not just about being physically attractive,
Yeah,
but about having a certain presence, a certain energy that makes you magnetic.
precisely. It's about cultivating those qualities that make people feel good and want to be around you. Warmth, genuine interest, a sense of humor, and that spark of something special that sets you apart.
I like that. It's about being the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And letting that shine through. Now, the book also delves into some pretty specific techniques for achieving this campfire effect. He mentions this on-button game that's supposed to, well, drive men wild with desire.
Yeah.
And then there's this claim that revealing a specific part of your body, and it's not what you think, will make men fantasize about you.
These techniques definitely pique your curiosity. I think it's important to approach them with an open mind and a sense of playfulness. The book encourages women to embrace their femininity, to experiment with different ways of expressing themselves. It's about discovering what feels authentic and empowering for you.
So, it's not about following the script. but about finding what works for you and your personality.
Exactly. It's about exploring different approaches, finding what feels natural and comfortable.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
He also talks about this three-sentence technique to get men to agree to your requests. Honestly, that one sounds a little manipulative, doesn't it?
I think it's important to remember that communication is an art, and there are many ways to express our needs and desires. Grant's approach is about framing requests in a way that appeals to a man's emotional intelligence and desire to make you happy. It's about creating a win-win situation where both partners feel good about the outcome.
Okay, so it's not about being manipulative,
Yeah.
but about finding a more effective way to communicate.
Precisely. It's about understanding the nuances of communication, finding ways to express ourselves in a way that resonates with our partners.
I can see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I noticed is that he doesn't reveal everything up front. He keeps mentioning this kiss of death in a relationship, but doesn't actually say what it is. And he claims there are 3 magic words that will make a man open up emotionally. It's like he's dangling a carrot, making you want to keep reading to find out the secrets.
It's a classic marketing technique. By creating a sense of intrigue and promising to reveal hidden knowledge, he's piquing our curiosity and making us want to delve deeper. And to be fair, relationships are complex, and there may be subtle dynamics at play that we're not always aware of.
That's true. I guess we all want that insider information, that secret formula for love and connection.
Well,
Before we jump into the 5 modules, I have to ask, what do you make of all these testimonials he includes? He mentions women like Tina Torkelson, who says she's gotten more attention from men than ever before, and Carrie Marie, who claims she's getting married thanks to the book.
testimonials can be compelling, but it's essential to remember they represent individual experiences. What works for one person may not work for everyone. However, the fact that so many women are sharing positive stories suggests there might be something valuable in his approach.
Right. It's at least worth exploring further, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even if you only glean a few helpful tips, it could make a difference in your love life. Okay. So let's take a deeper dive into these 5 modules and see what The Woman Men Adore is really all about.
All right, let's delve into the heart of the program. The Woman Men Adore is structured around 5 modules, each addressing a different aspect of building that campfire effect.
I'm all ears. From what I've skimmed, he starts off with the one critical emotion men need to fall in love. Now, he's pretty tight-lipped about what this emotion actually is in the intro, but he suggests it's something women often unintentionally hide, making them appear cold and detached.
It's that classic secret ingredient approach, isn't it? Creating a sense of mystery and anticipation definitely keeps you hooked. But on a deeper level, it makes you reflect. What are we holding back that could be hindering our relationships? Could expressing this missing piece be the key to unlocking deeper connections?
That's such a good point. It makes me wonder, what am I missing out on?
Yes.
And then, of course, there's the whole section about how we might be unconsciously sending off desperate vibes, even when we think we're being cool and collected.
I think that section really resonated with a lot of women. It's that fear of coming on too strong or appearing needy. Grant's insights provide a way to self-assess, make sure our actions align with our desires.
He also mentions a specific mistake women make when receiving compliments. He claims it's a major turnoff that can instantly repulse a man. What could be so bad about how we handle compliments?
Well, think about it. Compliments are meant to be positive affirmations, a way of acknowledging someone's qualities. But if we deflect them or downplay them, it can send a message of insecurity or lack of receptiveness. It's about learning to gracefully receive compliments, appreciate the sentiment behind them.
That's something I never really considered. He also talks about 5 things men crave, that women are clueless about, things that create this unconscious connection. So powerful men will bend over backward to be around you. He's definitely painting a tantalizing picture.
He's tapping into that desire we all have for deep, effortless connection. And while it might sound too good to be true, wouldn't it be amazing if we could understand those subtle cues that create that magnetic pull?
It would be incredible. And of course, he delves into this kiss of death thing, promising a proven cure for this emotional state. That supposedly makes men run for the hills.
This is where understanding male psychology comes into play. Grant suggests that there are specific emotional triggers that can make men feel suffocated or repelled. By recognizing and addressing these triggers, you can prevent those kiss of death moments and create a more harmonious dynamic.
So it's about understanding those subtle emotional nuances. That can make or break a connection. All right, on to Module 2, his deepest desire in a woman. He claims this desire is totally counterintuitive to everything we've been taught.
This is where things start to get really interesting. He's challenging conventional wisdom. and offering a fresh perspective on what truly attracts men.
And he claims you can make a man drop everything and listen when you're upset by tapping into a specific emotion. That sounds pretty powerful.
This is about understanding the power of vulnerability and emotional expression. By sharing your feelings in an authentic and heartfelt way, you can create a deep sense of empathy and connection. It's about allowing your partner to see your true self and feel compelled to support you.
So it's not about playing games or being manipulative, but about being real and letting your emotions shine through.
Exactly. It's about trusting your partner enough to let them see your vulnerability, allowing them to be there for you. It's about building a bond based on genuine emotional intimacy.
I like that. It's about strength through vulnerability. Now, he also talks about a magical tone. That will make a man powerless to refuse your requests. That sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it?
Well, think about it this way. When you communicate with warmth, respect, and genuine care, it creates a positive and receptive atmosphere. It's not about using some sort of Jedi mind trick, but about fostering a dynamic where your partner feels valued and appreciated.
So it's about creating a positive feedback loop, treating your partner with respect and kindness, which inspires them to reciprocate those feelings.
Exactly. It's about building a foundation of mutual respect and consideration.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he also promises to reveal how to be a little bit selfish and
True.
actually make yourself more adorable. I thought being selfish was a bad thing in relationships.
It's about understanding the importance of self-care, setting healthy boundaries. By prioritizing your own needs and well-being, you actually become more attractive to others. When you radiate confidence and self-assurance, it draws people in.
So it's not about being narcissistic or neglecting your partner's needs, but about making sure you're taking care of yourself as well.
Precisely. It's about creating a balance where both partners feel fulfilled and respected. It's about creating a partnership where both individuals thrive.
Okay, on to Module 3, the transformation process. This is where he gets into those super specific techniques that supposedly trigger a man's desire to be with you. Like, he mentions this unconscious trigger that disarmed a guy in an elevator.
That's a pretty vivid image, isn't it? It suggests that there are these subtle cues we can use to create an instant connection. And while it might sound far-fetched, there's a growing body of research on the power of nonverbal communication and how it influences attraction.
So it's not just about what we say,
Yeah.
but how we say it, our body language, our tone of voice, those little things that convey so much.
Exactly. It's about understanding the power of those subtle cues, learning to use them in a way that feels authentic and empowering.
He also talks about this 3-sentence technique. That supposedly makes a man powerless to resist your requests. He even provides a word-for-word script. Doesn't that feel a little, I don't know, manipulative?
I think it's important to remember that communication is a skill, and there's always room for improvement. Grant's approach is about framing requests in a way that appeals to a man's desire to please and support you. It's about creating a dynamic where both partners feel good about the outcome.
So it's not about using trickery or mind games, but about finding a more effective way to communicate your needs.
Precisely. It's about understanding the nuances of communication, how to express ourselves in a way that resonates with our partners. It's about creating a win-win situation.
That makes sense. He also promises to teach you how to instantly spot a guy who's not worth your time by looking for a specific personality clue. I wish I'd known that trick a few years ago.
It's about recognizing red flags and patterns of behavior. That suggests a person might not be ready for a healthy and committed relationship. It's about protecting yourself and your emotional well-being.
So it's about being discerning,
Yeah.
not wasting your time on someone who's not going to meet your needs.
Exactly. It's about knowing your worth and setting healthy boundaries. It's about choosing partners who are capable of reciprocating your love and respect.
Now things really heat up in Module 4. Simple changes that trigger arousal in a man.
This module dives into the physical and emotional aspects of attraction. It's about understanding what sparks desire, how to create a sense of excitement and intimacy in your relationship.
He talks about the on-button game, how to make a man feel protective of you, a way of speaking that makes him hang on your every word, and even a specific part of your body. And it's not what you think. That will make him fantasize about you.
This is about embracing your sensuality and femininity, expressing it in a way that feels empowering and authentic. It's about rediscovering that spark of attraction, keeping things exciting in the relationship.
So it's not just about physical appearance, but about cultivating a certain energy and presence that makes you irresistible.
Exactly. It's about owning your attractiveness, allowing your inner light to shine through. It's about having fun and enjoying the journey of connection and intimacy.
I love that. It's about celebrating your femininity and owning your power. All right, we're on to the final module, Module 5. Your dream comes true, he'll cherish you always. He promises to reveal a magical phrase that will melt a man's anger, how to make him not just hear your words, but feel them. A specific item of clothing that will make him notice you instantly. Again, not what you think. And how to avoid accidentally making him feel like you're his mother.
This module is all about solidifying the connection, creating a lasting bond. It's about mastering the art of communication, understanding a man's emotional needs, nurturing the relationship in a way that makes him feel cherished and adored.
So it's about taking those initial sparks of attraction and building something deeper and more meaningful.
Exactly. It's about creating a foundation of trust, intimacy, and mutual respect. It's about building a partnership that stands the test of time.
He also shares success stories from women who claim to have seen amazing transformations in their love lives. After applying his techniques, he talks about Paige, whose husband started helping around the house more, Cynthia, who married the next guy she dated, and Gretchen, who was approached by a man in a hotel lobby.
These stories are definitely inspiring. They demonstrate the potential power of these techniques to create positive change in relationships. Of course, everyone's journey is unique, and what works for one person may not work for everyone. But these success stories give us hope that it's possible to find fulfilling love.
Right. It shows us that there are tools and strategies out there that can help us create the kind of relationships we desire. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the giving pit to the campfire effect, from unconscious triggers to magical tones. What are your overall thoughts on the 5 modules and the techniques Grant outlines?
It's a comprehensive program that offers a fresh perspective on attraction and relationships. While some of the techniques may seem a bit unconventional, I think the underlying message is about empowerment and self-discovery. It's about understanding your own needs, communicating effectively, creating a dynamic where both partners feel valued and adored.
It sounds like it's about taking charge of your love life, creating the kind of relationship you truly desire. And I love how he emphasizes the importance of emotional intelligence. Understanding those subtle cues, that can make such a big difference in our interactions with men.
Exactly. It's about being mindful of our actions and words, understanding how they impact our relationships.
Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's circle back to this idea of being a little bit selfish, because he talks about it a lot. He even suggests that trying to be a man's equal will kill the romantic spark, but doing one specific thing will create sparks of passion in his eyes.
I think it's important to approach this concept with sensitivity. Grant's not advocating for being self-centered or disregarding your partner's needs. What he's suggesting is that by maintaining a healthy sense of self, prioritizing your own happiness, you become more attractive and alluring. Men are drawn to women who are confident, independent, who know their worth.
So it's about finding that balance between being a supportive partner and taking care of your own needs and desires.
Exactly. It's about creating a dynamic where both partners feel fulfilled and respected. It's about building a partnership where both individuals thrive.
And that brings us to another point he makes, meeting a man's deepest emotional need. He claims that by doing so, you'll make him so addicted to you, he'll never even think of looking at another woman.
This speaks to the importance of understanding and validating a man's emotional world. Men, like women, crave to feel seen, heard, and appreciated. By making an effort to connect with him on an emotional level, you create a bond that's both powerful and fulfilling.
So it's about going beyond superficial conversations,
Yeah.
creating a space for genuine emotional intimacy.
Precisely. It's about fostering a sense of trust and connection that makes him feel safe and loved.
And I think that's something we all crave regardless of gender, that feeling of being deeply connected and understood. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive. We've explored the 5 modules of Grant's program, unpacked some of his more intriguing techniques, and started to delve into the power of emotional intelligence and communication. In the final part, we'll wrap things up by discussing the long-term benefits of applying these techniques, alternative perspectives on relationships, and offer our final thoughts on the woman men adore. As we wrap up our deep dive into the woman men adore, let's talk about the potential long-term benefits of Grant's approach. If a woman embraces these techniques, could it lead to a happier and more fulfilling relationship?
That's a great question, and I think it's the hope many readers have when picking up this book. You know what's intriguing about Grant's approach is that it encourages women to shift their perspective. Instead of focusing on what they're not getting from men, it encourages them to focus on understanding male psychology and creating a dynamic that naturally fosters love and connection.
So it's about understanding what makes men tick and creating an environment where they feel inspired to be their best selves.
Exactly. It's about tapping into those deep-seated emotional needs that drive men's behavior and creating a relationship where those needs are met in a healthy and fulfilling way.
He also emphasizes the importance of emotional intelligence, which we touched on earlier.
Yeah.
How does that play into building a lasting connection?
Emotional intelligence is crucial for any successful relationship. It's about understanding not only your own emotions, but also the emotions of your partner. It's about being able to communicate effectively, navigate conflict constructively, and create a sense of empathy and understanding.
So it's not just about mastering techniques, but about developing those core skills that allow for genuine connection.
Precisely. Techniques can be helpful, but they're most effective when they're rooted in a foundation of emotional intelligence. It's about being authentic in your interactions, creating a space where both partners feel safe to be vulnerable, express their true selves.
Now, throughout this deep dive, we've mainly focused on Grant's perspective. Are there any alternative perspectives on relationships and communication that our listener might find helpful to explore?
Absolutely. There's a wealth of resources out there offering different perspectives on relationships. Some emphasize communication skills, like active listening and nonviolent communication. Others focus on attachment styles and how they influence our relationships. And many explore the dynamics of power and gender roles in relationships.
It sounds like it's about finding what resonates with you and what aligns with your values and beliefs.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to relationships. What works for one couple may not work for another. The key is to be open to learning, experimenting, and finding what creates a healthy and fulfilling dynamic for you and your partner.
So what's our final verdict on The Woman Men Adore?
Uh.
Should our listener give it a try?
I think it's a valuable resource for women who are looking to gain a deeper understanding of male psychology and create more fulfilling relationships. While some of the techniques may seem unconventional, I think the underlying message is about empowerment, self-awareness, and creating a dynamic of mutual love and respect. If you're open to exploring a new perspective and willing to put in the effort, I think you'll find some valuable insights in this book.
It sounds like it's at least worth exploring.
Right.
Even if you only glean a few helpful tips, it could make a positive impact on your love life. And as we mentioned earlier, there are always other resources out there if you want to explore different perspectives or dive deeper into specific areas like communication or attachment styles.
Exactly. The journey of self-discovery and relationship growth is ongoing. There's always something new to learn and explore.
Well said. So to wrap things up, I would encourage our listener to approach The Woman Men Adore with an open mind and a willingness to experiment, take what resonates with you, leave what doesn't, and most importantly, trust your own intuition. You are the expert on your own life and your own heart.
And remember, building a fulfilling relationship is a collaborative effort. It requires communication, compromise, and a shared desire for growth and connection.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into The Woman Men Adore. We hope you found it insightful and empowering. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those sparks flying.